Thank you, Param. I thought I started, but I don't know how. Okay. So that's why Krishna says that you should be performing bhakti rather than just being a dry philosophist like that. Okay. Let's go to the next. So now, this entire chapter is going to talk about Nishkam Karma Yoga in a much detail. Now, initially section, which is about 6-7 section, Krishna talks about how Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga are actually the same path or the same rungs of the same ladder, right? But the way you perform that is different. For example, Krishna talks about how Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga is about understanding this material world and understanding Krishna, right? But you do not actually perform any activity. That is what is called as Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga. Whereas Bhakti Yoga means actually performing Bhakti or Karma Yoga, right? Like that. Now, but Krishna is saying both are good. Both are good. Even Karma Yoga is good, Sankhya Yoga is good. At least you're doing some spiritual activity. But it is very difficult to perform Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga. Because in Sankhya Yoga, it is very dry. And you have to give up everything. And then there are so many problems in Sankhya Yoga. Whereas in Karma Yoga, it's very easy. Just do your activity and remember Krishna. That's all. और कुछ नहीं करना है आपको. Chant करना है और भगवान का नाम लेना है. And remember Krishna. That's it. And do your work. Don't do your work. Don't leave your work. Right? Like that. Okay. So Prabhupada says in the first shloka that basically people are mad after sense gratification. They'll do anything and everything for sense gratification, not knowing that this body is actually going to give a lot of trouble to them. तो पता ही नहीं उनको. And they are after the sense gratification. मुझे enjoy करना है, मुझे खाना है, मुझे पीना है, मुझे घूमना है, right? That is actually lead them to trouble and nothing else. As long as one is ignorant of this fact, right? As long as there is no spiritual inquiry, one will be bound to this material world. ये material world से छुटकारा नहीं मिलेगा. Will keep on coming back to this material world, right? Now, as long as the mind is after fruity activities, if I do this, I will get this. If I do this, I will get this, right? If until and unless one is in avidya, until that point of time, right? Unless we develop, like in Bhagavatam it is said, dharmasvanishtuta pumsam vishwakshena kathashuya novotpadya dadi ratim shamaeva hi kevalam. We perform our activities, everything we are doing, but there is no rati in our heart for Krishna. There is no taste for Krishna. Our life is like shamaeva hi kevalam. It is of no use, zero, right? That's why Krishna talks about Falgu Vairagya. No, Falgu Vairagya and Yukta Vairagya. Falgu Vairagya means giving up everything and only talking about dry philosophy. Whereas Yukta Vairagya means utilizing everything for Krishna's purpose. That is called as Yukta Vairagya. Right? So if you have got a mobile, you use your mobile for listening to Krishna's pastimes, listening to kirtans. Right? You have a laptop, utilize it for giving classes or reading different books online, right? That is called Yukta Vairagya. Otherwise, it will become a bondage. Anything and everything which can be utilized in Krishna's service can liberate you. Otherwise, everything can, even a beggar spot can actually bound you. A beggar doesn't have anything, only a pot. But even that pot, if he's attached, he'll become bound to this material world. That is what Krishna is trying to say. So here we are speaking about renunciation in action and not action. हम अपने काम को नहीं छोड़ रहे हैं, but by doing our work we want to renunciate in the heart. We should think in our heart कि whatever belongs to me actually belongs to Krishna. This is coming from Krishna, and this is I have actually given up everything for Krishna. This belongs to Krishna, and I am actually taking it as a
Prabhuji, excuse me. Can you repeat the word again from हम अपने काम को नहीं छोड़ रहे onwards that? Because there was some gap. Yes.
Yeah. So Krishna says we are not supposed to leave our work, but by doing our work, we have to remember Krishna so that we can become liberated. We can become free from the bondage. That's what I say. Now, by doing this, basically, so whenever you are actually dovetailing everything for Krishna, which means, for example, you do the same actions. हम cooking करते हैं, हम office जाते हैं, माताएं जो घर का काम करती हैं, everything is the same thing we are doing. The homemaker is doing the same things. The husband is going to the job or at least working from home. Only point is our dovetailing nature is only Krishna. Our results are being dotted to Krishna. That is the only difference. There's nothing else. Now, once you do that, you are not hating or desiring any results. Whatever you are gaining out of the activities, you are just acting Thike Krishna. This is because of your grace I'm getting, and I'm thankful to you. That is the attitude we have to build in order to actually perform Nishkam Karma. Right? Otherwise, it is going to bound us to this material world. Okay. Now, in the first sloka, again, Krishna talks about the same Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga. Sankhya Yoga means analytically studying everything, and Karma Yoga means performing action. He's saying both are same process, but Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga takes a long time, and Karma Yoga, it is not that longer. It is faster than that. Right? And Krishna is saying, one who sees this everywhere, Yaha Paschati Paschati, he talks about it in fifth sloka. He says, one who sees this everywhere, right? He is a real Pandita. He is a person who of knowledge, right? What is he seeing? So basically, he's saying that, for example, if you take an X-ray at a polyclinic and you show to a layman, you take X-ray and you show to your wife or your husband, what do you think they'll understand? They'll not understand anything. But the same X-ray, if it's given to a doctor will understand, hey, आपकी kidney में गड़बड़ है, आपके lungs में गड़बड़ है. He will say, for us it's the same thing. अरे ये भी same है, वो भी same है. The X-ray with lung, problem in lung, for us it's the same as without the lungs. दोनों same ही दिखता है, थोड़ा color उधर अलग होगा. The point here is, one whose knowledge can see that both Sankhya Yoga and Bhakti Yoga are technically to the same path, same goal भी जा रहे हैं. But it is like going to Delhi via two routes. One is taking longer, other is shorter. Like that. That is how actually Bhakti and Sankhya Yoga are. Both are actually going parallelly. एक ही साथ जा रहे हैं. But one is going to take longer. Like that. Also, one thing you have to understand is, what we can know depends upon what we already know. Like the example of X-ray. Now, the doctor has studied for 5 years about various things, and that's why he's able to analyze an X-ray, say, हाँ, इसमें गड़बड़ है. But if you do not know anything about X-ray, you'll not be able to figure it out. That's why when you know some things, then only you can know the further action, further things like that. Right? Okay, now let's look at the sixth sloka. So Krishna is saying mere renunciation is difficult and distressful without performing Nishkam, because when you perform only renunciation, giving up everything, right, the mind is going to trouble you. The mind is going to tell, hey, ye karo, wo karo. Like in our third chapter or fourth chapter, we showed a picture where there were sadhus who were playing football. Now, that those people have actually given up everything so that they can lead a God-centered life. But they are also playing football. Why is that? Because their hearts are not clean yet. Their hearts are yet got so many desires, they are not able to fully focus on Krishna. That's why we have to understand that unless your heart is clear, we should not take to renunciation. Right? So Krishna is not talking about two different paths here. He's talking about the same goal, right? Variety of paths, but leading to the same destination. अलग-अलग paths नहीं है जो अलग-अलग जगह जाते हैं. No, those are the same paths but different levels leading to the same destination. Right? Okay. And again, Krishna talks about how in this fifth section that when you renounce activities, life becomes miserable. Yahi samsparshja bhoga dukkha ena evate adya antavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. So there it says that basically one who is a Buddha, he understands that there is no enjoyment in this world. And that's why he doesn't renounce everything, but he starts channelizing everything for Krishna's service. But one who is performing devotional service, for him, life is becoming very easy. Right? So here we have to understand what is Mayavad philosophy and what is Shankaravad. I'll just spend about 5 minutes to discuss this. So Mayavad means their concept is that now it is very, very important to understand. You might be thinking, I don't know what Anand is saying, but this is a very important philosophy where I'm trying to spend some time here. When you start performing bhakti, when you start reading Bhagavad Gita, you'll meet a lot of people who are reading Bhagavad Gita. And you supposedly you are thinking, अरे ये भी भक्ति कर रहे हैं, अरे इनको भी इंटरेस्ट है भगवद गीता में, अरे ये भी डिवोशनल सर्विस की वीडियोस देखते हैं. But when you start going deeper and deeper and trying to understand where they are, that's when you'll realize what is the real intention. There are some people called as impersonalists or Mayavadis. What do? Their understanding is they read Bhagavad Gita, they read Krishna book, they read Bhagavatam, but their understanding is everybody is going to become God. सब लोग भगवान में जाके विलीन होने वाले. आपको पता नहीं आप भगवान हो, आप बाद में बनने वाले. This is their philosophy, right? Which is the number one bogus philosophy. Now, as I said, there are three different levels of understanding Krishna. One is Brahma Jyoti, second is Paramatma sitting in our heart, and third is original Krishna in Golok. So there is a concept of Brahma Jyoti, but Krishna doesn't actually appreciate or encourage merging in impersonalism, right? Merging in the Brahma Jyoti. So these Mayavadis, there are two different categories. One is called as Brahmavadi and there is another Mayavadi. Brahmavadis know that Krishna is there, he's got a supreme form, but they still want to go and merge in the Brahman or Brahma Jyoti. Whereas there are Mayavadis who do not accept Krishna's form. बोलते नहीं, कृष्ण का फॉर्म ही नहीं है. सब कुछ जो भगवान है ना, everything is light, everything is Brahma Jyoti, and everybody is coming from this light in this material world. And when we understand we are God, we go and merge there. That is their understanding. And what they understand is everybody is going to lose their existence. ऐसा उनका मानना है. But that is not true. None of the Bhagavatam, none of the Shastras talk about it. Everybody is going to continue with an independent entity. सब लोग independent रहने वाले. Nobody is going to merge with anybody. Right? That's what we don't understand. Huh? So now, so who is Shankaracharya? Why did he start this Mayavad? So Mayavad was started because in around 2500 years back, after Krishna left and all the other Pandavas' descendants left, so people started abusing Vedas. They said, hey, look, in this Shastra it is said that you can kill a goat. In this Shastra it is said you can kill a cow. They started actually abusing Vedas. And they started killing animals left, right, center. And that's when Shankar means Shivji, he said, I have to take a form so that I can actually change the people's mind. So before that, actually Krishna took the form of Buddha. Buddha came and he told that you stop killing animals. I am telling you Vedas are bogus, because he wanted to imbibe this fact that killing of animals is not good. So he said, stop killing animals. And people stopped because he had such a charisma. He is Krishna himself, obviously. So people started following him and Buddhism increased. Then Shankaracharya came, who was the avatar of Shankar, Lord Shiva, and he propagated impersonalism. He said everything is one. Forget about Buddha. That is bogus. Follow Vedas, but everybody is one. One means everybody is becoming God. Then Madhvacharya came, and then he defeated Shankaracharya, saying this is not correct. Actually, there are two Dvaita philosophy. So Shankaracharya said Advaita philosophy, and Madhvacharya said Dvaita philosophy. Now, what is the difference? Shankaracharya says everybody is going to merge in the God. Everybody is God. Abhi pata nahi sabko. But Madhvacharya says no. There is Dvaitvad, which means there is God and there is a Jiva. There is a living entity. Both have the same qualities. God has got in unlimited numbers, whereas a living being has got in limited numbers. So in quality they are same. In quantity they are not same. One is God and one is normal living being. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko vihidam vijidhati kaman. Which means there are multiple living entities, unlimited living entities, but one is pramukh. One is main. Like we have got one Indian who is the greatest, who is the Prime Minister. One American who is the greatest, who is the President. Like that, among all the living beings, there is one who is the greatest among all. That is God. So like that, Dvaita was what started. So that is what is Mayavad, and it is still rampant in India. Even my boss in Cognizant, about 10 years back, used to say, Anand, I know you are performing spirituality, but you know what? You are God. After some time, you'll realize this. I said, what? I'm God? If I was God, I would not be able to, I would have been able to control my pain. I would have been able to control. If there's a toothache, you cannot even control the toothache. What about controlling anything else? तो हम भगवान बन ही नहीं सकते. God is by nature God. We cannot become God. Right? That's what the philosophy is. But Mayavad is very, very rampant. That's why you have to be very, very careful. If somebody starts speaking to this language, you have to understand their concept. You have to ask them 3 questions. Who is God? Who am I? And what is my goal of performing spiritual practice? If they said, oh, God is light, we are also God, and our goal is to become God, then you understand what this person is. Our aim is to serve God. And then, because even serving God, you can become greater than God. Well, how is that? Yes, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda were in Vrindavan and they used to order Krishna. Hey Krishna, jute leke aao mera. Hey Krishna, wala matka leke aao. Who can order God? But they are ordering. And Krishna used to, take the slippers of Nanda Maharaj and used to come, put it on his head and come to Nanda Maharaj. That is a devotee. A pure devotee can order Krishna. All the gopis used to, order Krishna. Hey Kana, nacho. And Kana would naach. Kala would dance. Right? Hey Kana, idhar aa. And Krishna would go. So like that, the pure devotees are able to actually dictate terms with the God. They can chastise God. They can, love God. And they can do whatever they want to God with God. That is the power of pure devotee. So in one sense, a pure devotee is greater than God. Right? Because he is able to dictate terms. Whereas if you want to become God, you will not be able to become God. But if you want to become a servant of God, you can become greater than God. That is the philosophy of spirituality. In spirituality, when you, in life, in material life, if you want to become the highest, right, then as you go higher, your pride increases. मैं president हूँ, मैं vice president हूँ, मैं ये हूँ, मैं हूँ. But in spiritual life, as you grow, you become humble. I am nobody. I am a rascal. I am the servant of pure devotees. That is the difference between spiritual world and material world. Spiritual life and material life. Right? So that is what is being talked about here. So Mayavad is very, very rampant, and that's why I spent a little time here. So in this 6th sloka, it talks about how Mayavadis actually have misunderstood all these concepts. Okay, let's go to the next. So this is talking about Sankhya Yoga, Jnana Yoga. I already mentioned about this. Nishkam Karma Yoga is basically, I'm not this material body, I am a soul, part and parcel. So this is a repetition of what Krishna spoke in the 3rd chapter. That's why you might be thinking, I have heard this before. Yes, because Krishna spoke about the same thing in 3rd chapter. But now he's going to go in details. Now in the next sloka, Krishna is going to talk about what kind of person is free from false ego, free from, or he's self-controlled. Yoga Yukta Muni, he's going to talk about, right? So he's going to go in details. Now, basically, let's go to the, who is the Nishkam Karma Yogi? I am a servant of God. What work do you do? Whatever work is related to Krishna. How do you work? Sincerely, dedicatedly. What do you do with the results? I hand it over to God. Now, why one might say, hey, कष्ट मैं करूं और results भगवान को दूं? ऐसे कैसे? Why should I do that? Because everything is coming from Krishna. Everything is the source. Krishna is the source of everything. Am sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. Krishna is saying in 10th chapter 8th sloka, everything is coming from me. Spiritual world, material world, सब कुछ मुझसे आ रहा है. So why should we not give it to Krishna? And whatever results we are getting, for example, you get some money, you get some food. Where are you getting it from? Everything is coming from the ingredients of Krishna. So why should you not thank him? You should be offering it. Anyways, when you offer it, Krishna is not going to take it away from you like that. So we are shifting our attitude from doership to divineship, right? Or divine nature. We are eliminating feeling of I did it, I only can do it, to it is because of Krishna. Unless Krishna approves, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to be done, right? We can't do anything on our own. Even if we cannot, you wake up early in the morning every day. Sometimes we are not able to wake up because many uncertainties in the world. Yes. Eliminate false ego. Don't take any credit for any work done. You should never say कि मेरे कारण हुआ है. देखा मैंने किया. No. There are 5 kartas, and Krishna is going to speak about 3 kartas in this 3rd section or 2nd section. There are 3 types of doers. He's going to talk about it. And in 18.14, he talks about 5 types of kartas. So if you do work, no guarantee that you will get the results. There are 4 more parameters or criteria because of which you're going to get the results. So you cannot say कि नहीं मेरे कारण हुआ, right? Like that. So why should we be motivated to perform Nishkam Karma Yoga? So that we can purify our heart. Because that is the main thing we are trying to do. We want to transform ourselves. जो भी हम लोग हैं अभी उससे हमको transform करना है. We want to become better and better and better, and then go back to the Vaikuntha, go back to spiritual world. That is possible. Prabhupada said, "Give me one life." Give me means give to Krishna one life, and you will be able to go back. इतना difficult नहीं है, but it's only a question of determination and sincerity. If you want to, you can. If you want to still cling to the material energies and material world, nobody can do anything about it because it's independence, right? It's going to you, right? Like that. So now, okay, let's go to the next section. These are more details about what we already discussed. Now there's the next section, which is 5.7 to 5.16. So Nishkam Karma Yoga frees one from bondage. It is saying one in knowledge understands his incompatibility with material nature and thus acts only for purification, unattached to material results. Who is understood this? What is it saying? One in knowledge understands his incompatibility with material nature. What is Krishna trying to say here? Simple English. Anybody?
We don't belong here. He start to actually realize that he is like a odd man out here. He don't belong here.
Okay, very good. We don't belong here. Yeah. How does this understanding come? We don't belong here.
So he's whatever he's longing for. Like when he realized that what he truthful constitutionally he is longing for, that solution does not exist at all here.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Anybody else? Focus on the first few words. One in knowledge means one who has got the knowledge understands his incompatibility with material nature. इसका मतलब क्या है? Incompatibility मतलब?
It doesn't material well-being doesn't give happiness, or it doesn't settle you down. It might for few moments or something, but then you again come back. You still feel incomplete. And then you again start your search. Exactly.
Like now this section is going to talk about how we are an Atma, which everybody knows nowadays. Everybody knows in the sense, in this session, everybody knows. We are this Atma, we are not this body. Correct? So if you are this body, and it's going to, we are going to discuss in more details, but I'll just briefly mention this. If you look around, and if you analyze using Sankhya Yoga, you'll understand everything which is made up here is of material elements. Other than the soul, everything is material elements. Okay? Bhumira Pundalavayu Kham Mano Buddhirevacha. Basically, everything is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and mind, intelligence, ego. Everything is material. This body, this mobile, this laptop, whatever I see, everything is material. But who are we? We are spirit soul. And what is spirit, soul, and matter same? Totally different, totally opposite. It is like putting oil in water and thinking it will get mixed. Kabhi nahi mix hoga. Or taking a fish out of water and try to, asking to enjoy in the sand. It will never. Similarly, the soul has been sent in this material world where it doesn't belong to. ये यहाँ का नहीं है. This spirit soul is not of this material world. क्यों? Because the matter अलग है और spirit अलग है. That's why it's called incompatible. So when one gets this knowledge, he becomes really, really enlightened. उसको पता चलता है अरे यहाँ पे मैं आया हूँ. And this material nature is totally different. It is not allowing me to enjoy. It is not allowing me to be free. It is not allowing me to do anything at all. And why am I actually after this? And on top of that, I am thinking, oh, I am enjoying. I am the boss of my house. I am a vice president. I am a president. See, look at the illusion. That is called a strong illusion. Even very, very intelligent person, even Einstein kind of person, who's a scientist, even he is bewildered or illusioned. You belong to this material world. You got a family. You got a Kids, you got a job. You have to make this place a happy place. That is what he's saying, right? What's that song? There's a song which Michael Jackson has written, and that it says, you want to make this a happy place. Nobody can make it a happy place. But you can look around. If it was a happy place, why would we have Corona for the last 1.5 years and trouble us? Everybody sitting in the home. Now some people in UK and America are roaming around, but now Indians are sitting in home. The point here is this: we do not belong to this material world. That has to be hammered in our head every day. रोज सर में डालना पड़ेगा. No, I don't belong to this material world. Then only we can take spirituality seriously. जब तक ये दिमाग में जाएगी नहीं, तब तक हमको कोई बात नहीं है. मेरे को जॉब तो है, पैसा तो आ रहा है ना, बच्चे ठीक ठाक है ना, मुझे कोरोना तो नहीं हुआ ना, मैंने वैक्सीन ले लिया ना, which means I am feeling I am this material world. That is where the problem is, and that is what Krishna is trying to drive out here. In the next couple of slokas, we will understand that a person who is in knowledge, who is purified intelligence, who's got his self-control, he's got control over his senses, he understands and he's thoughtful in his actions. When he's performing actions, he's thinking, is this action going to bound me? ये मैं जो कर रहा हूँ इससे मैं इसी मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में रहने वाला हूँ क्या? If yes, then I should not do it. Right? At least 90% out of 100%. उतना तो करना चाहिए. Right? If not 100%. कम से कम 50% बढ़ाना चाहिए. Right? At least you should be aware of this knowledge. That is what Krishna is going to focus on this in the next section, right, where he is going to talk about this. Okay, so very interesting section next. We are going to talk about the 24 elements of this material world, which is used for Sankhya Yoga. Then we are going to talk about, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about how we don't belong to this world, right? And then how we are thinking we are of this world. Then we'll talk about the 3 states. One is in Jagrati, Sushupti, and Turiya and Swapna. So there are 4 states actually: Jagrati, Sushupti, Swapna, and Turiya. Right? And then we'll talk about that the 3 doers part, 3 types of people. Right? That we'll talk about. So we'll stop it here. I think it's exactly 9 o'clock. Any questions? Any thoughts? It's a slightly difficult topic to understand as compared to 2nd and 3rd chapter. Slightly difficult, but don't worry. If you keep on hearing the same thing again and again, we'll get there. So this chapter 5 and chapter 6 are slightly difficult as compared to 3 and 4. But then after 7th chapter, it becomes very easy. 7th chapter to 12th is all, Bhakti Yoga. And it becomes very, very easy. Then again, there is knowledge section. The first 6 slokas, first 6 chapters are the Karma Yoga. Second is the Bhakti Yoga section, again 7 to 12. And 13 to 18 is Jnana Yoga. Like that. Okay, any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, I wasn't having doubt from this session, but in the afternoon, I was going through the 4th Meka YouTube link. So over there, you had said ki Krishna is one who fulfills the desires,
yes,
but he isn't responsible for it.
Yes.
And even he is not like he fulfills desires of the saints too. But if 90% people are doing the sins and 10% are not doing, but still both of them are going to suffer from it, right?
Yes, yes.
But if we see in today's time about the sexual assaults, rape, etc., so is it happening with an individual because of his or her sins?
Yes.
And if yes, then what's happening is also a sin, right?
Yes, yes. So yeah, it's a deeper point. So good point you captured, Madhura. So basically what happens is I desire to enjoy. So now where is the desire coming from? Let's only talk about this, rape victims, right? So why are those people who are actually raping others doing that? They are doing that because they are watching movies. You know what kind of movies I'm talking about, right? They're all watching porn movies. They're watching all bad movies, or they're watching, TV serials nowadays. Even TV serials has got, all these kind of nonsensical things. So when they watch this, what is going to happen? In 2nd chapter, there is sloka. Dhyayato Vishyan Pumsa Sangasti Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kama Krodat Bhavutni. Sorry. Dhyayate Vishyan Pumsa Sangat Sanjayate Kama. Basically it's saying that, I'm missing the couple of lines. But it's basically saying when you observe an object and keep on contemplating, then it becomes a desire. And that desire, if you contemplate, it becomes a attachment. Attachment matlab, arey mujhe chahiye. For example, people looking at, heroines in the movies. They think, oh, kitni beautiful hai ye. And by looking at them again and again, they have got it. Oh, if only I was able to enjoy with her. Now, this desire is really, packed in the heart. जब हृदय में जाके बैठ गया है, वो बाहर ही नहीं निकल रहा. Now, imagine people looking at such movies every day. People watch movies every day or at least 3-4 times a week. Now, what is going to happen? That desire is going to come out somehow or the other. Right? Now, who desired? This person desired. Now, why is Krishna fulfilling? Because Krishna is saying, Upadashta Anumanta Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. I am here to fulfill your desires. So he's going to desire. He's going to create a situation, or the material nature is going to create a situation where he's got an opportunity to enjoy in an illicit way. Right? Ladka, he's in a bus and there's only one girl, nobody is there. He's got an opportunity. And because that opportunity is there, he uses his independence in a wrong way. And he does what he is not supposed to do. So, kya hua yahan pe abhi? He has got the desire to enjoy. Correct? But the material nature has provided him an opportunity. Now, even though his material nature is provided opportunity, he still can say no. Nahin, main nahi karunga. This is not correct. But most of the people are not able to control themselves. And isliye wo kar lete hain. That's why what you see is, whatever is happening in this material world is because of your own desires. मुझे sin करना है, I desire, Krishna fulfills. मुझे अच्छा काम करना है, Krishna fulfills. I desire, Krishna fulfills. So everything is actually in this material world, if you look at, everything is going on the desires of the living entities. We all wanted to be separate from Krishna and we came in this material world. And we are trying to enjoy. But nahi mil raha enjoyment. We are suffering here. Because there were conditions when we came from the spiritual world. Krishna started to stop us. Madhura, don't go there. There is a lot of problems. There is corona. There is this. There is that. But Madhura, Anand did not listen. They said, nahi, mujhe alag se aake rehna Krishna. Why should I stay with you? You are only enjoying. I am not enjoying. That is the illusion we were in. That's why we are suffering now. So basically, entire world is moving because of the desire. Desire hai, isliye sab chal raha hai. Does that answer your question or did I confuse you?
No, I got it. But then the girl would be taken as a material thing over here.
Yes. So basically what is happening is, person A is enjoying person B. Person B is a girl and person A is a male. Now person A is enjoying B because B has done something in the past life. Right? Now person A is doing that. So person A will be assaulted in the next life or in this life also. Don't know. Right? So it's a chain reaction. मैंने किसी को कुछ किया, उसने किसी को कुछ किया. I am going to get it definitely back. Right? So like that, we are reaping our own karma. जो भी हम कर रहे हैं, we are getting it back to us like that. So the girl probably क्या? By karma theory, we are 100% sure. Although we should not say like that to a person, but we are looking at it as an example. We should never say कि नहीं, तेरे साथ ये हुआ है मतलब तेरा karma है. Not like that. It's very, very insensitive to say that. But we understand from theory that nahi, there is, something that person has done. That's why he's getting it back like that. Is that clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. But if no, okay, chale, samajh mein aa gaya.
Sure, na? Clear, na?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any other question?
Prabhu,
Dandat Pranam.
Vijay Prabhu, boliye.
Yeah, after a long time.
Yes.
Sorry. Prabhuji, you told that one should not leave his own duties and continuously do the chant for an entire day.
Yeah.
So in this case, I just have a doubt about that. We know that our Guruji, our Guru Sri Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he used to chant for around 22 hours per day. So in that case, can you please explain
Yeah, that is
how?
Haridas Thakur. Not Bhakti Thakur.
Haridas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Haridas Thakur.
Yeah.
So can you please then explain about him, that how this is related to
Yes.
our ideal?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Thank you.
So Haridas Thakur was a very, very great devotee, exalted devotee. So ideally, we can actually continuously chant Krishna's name. Krishna says, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam in Bhagavad Gita. He's basically saying, you continuously chant my name, and while you are leaving your body, you can remember me. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tajtiyanti kalevaram tam tam evati kantaya sadavad bhava bhavita. When you remember me, you'll come back. So the point here is that if you are able to continuously chant all the time, all day, we can do that. Then there is no need for doing any work. कोई काम करने की जरूरत नहीं. 24 घंटा आप वो chant कर सकते हो. No problem. You can do that. But you should be able to sustain it. ऐसा नहीं कि थोड़े दिन के लिए किया and then you leave it. No. You should be able to do it continuously. That is what Krishna says. We are not able to do it because our mind is not able to focus on things. But Haridas Thakur was able to do that. He was chanting 192 rounds, which took him 22 hours. He would hardly sleep, he would hardly eat, he would hardly spend any time on his bodily activities. That was his status. So if we are able to do that, then Krishna says, definitely go ahead and do that. But because we cannot do that, Srila Prabhupada is saying, Nishkam Karma Yogi is saying, even you can see this in 8th chapter, in 12th chapter. 12th chapter, Krishna says, you remember me continuously. Okay, if you can't do that, at least you work for me. Like that, he's giving different steps. So like that, for a person like us who is not able to dedicate entire mind to Krishna, we can work, dedicate our energy and time and money for Krishna service and chant his names. And gradually we'll come to that platform where we can chant 24 hours like that. Yeah.
Very good. Dhanyawad, Prabhu.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Prabhu, you were mentioning about material world, and we should be always remembering a lot about how we are separate. Material things wouldn't give us happiness, and we do not belong here. So I was just remembering, I was just watching some news, and while they have this advertisement break, whatever advertisements come, they are always around material, so like
Yes.
perfume or cream or washing powder, and you are wearing nice clothes. And so the inputs which we have about that we are body are so much that
Yes.
we should increase our inputs, the spiritual inputs as well, so that they are more than these non-spiritual inputs. So
Yes.
otherwise we'll keep on being, that thought process will never get cleared.
Yes. Actually, you're right. I just heard in a lecture that the amount of spiritual energy and material energy, spiritual energy we are deriving by doing spiritual activities, and the material exposure we get, the spiritual exposure should, neutralize the material energy. In fact, it should go beyond that. Otherwise, we will not be able to maintain our Krishna consciousness. So, which means what I mean by is, if you're chanting, if you're reading Bhagavad Gita, if you're listening, that waves, spiritual waves should actually neutralize the material exposure which we are getting through our office, through our watching advertisement or whatever it is, so that we can keep ourselves afloat. So how do we know we are doing that? We should, our enjoyment tendency should be going down. We're trying to enjoy, the tendency should go down. That's when we can understand, now actually my spiritual activities are at a level where I can neutralize the material exposure, like that.
Yeah, that difference, I have, since 16 rounds have started, that experience, even I can see that I see that there is a jealousy coming. I see that there is anger, but I can see it coming. Previously, I never used to know, oh God, after anger and after I have blasted somebody, I would realize, oh, I should have not done that. But now I know that, it's coming, or even jealousy for that matter, because with material things, it's very easy to say that, everything belongs to Krishna, and, Krishna, this is all yours. But Krishna is not going to come and take your material things. So it's very easy to say that this is yours. But with, for example, position in office or something like that, that is where all these anarthas start creeping up, and then you see that, look, you are still impure.
Absolutely.
It is really very fascinating that when you increase your rounds, you can actually see those anarthas coming up, and there is a gap where you can suppress them, or you can take a conscious decision of moving away from them.
Yes, you're right. Actually, you're right. And this is just the start of the journey, believe me. Because when I started, 10, 12 years back, it took me maybe few days, few months to realize that, oh, these are anarthas. So many problems I got. But the more you chant, the more you realize, oh, there is a mountain of anarthas, like that. So,
yes.
But we have started, at least we were in the hospital now. We realized, oh, we got the problem. But there are so many people who still don't know they have got a problem. So that's the positive side of it.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Any other thoughts?
Anand Prabhu, I have one question.
Yes, Purnand.
So this question is like regarding one situation which usually everyone faces. Like the point comes that we get extremely frustrated in life because like some our expectations are not getting fulfilled or some serious problems comes in life or whatever the reason is. I think it comes with everyone. So in this for the two scenarios. So one is non-devotee when he comes across such situation, like he gets dejected and may get addicted or go to some wrong paths. But whereas when a devotee come across such situation, so and the devotee is able to realize that this, like whatever I am reading, this is like the live example of that thing. Like, I have been reading that this material is like life is hell only, and see now I am in that situation which is exactly giving me the proof. So in this stage, so if he or she realizes this, like, is it a good thing to rejoice that
Yes,
or not?
yes, definitely. Because now there is a shloka which says Chakshudandi Lode Janme Janme Prabhu Sei. In one of the bhajans it said, Chakshudan means we are given the vision to see in material world. Until now we are looking at the material world from a material vision. But now our Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada has given us the spiritual vision. Now we can see, hey, look, what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is come to reality. We are seeing the hell. We are seeing the, this thing. So like I'll just give another example. In our office, I generally take care of my colleagues who work with me. So I give a lot of effort and energy, and we think, oh, okay, probably this colleague is going to stay. But recently, one of my colleagues, resigned, and I said, what is the reason? And she said, no, I want to do something else. I said, okay, that's okay, but a couple of more people have resigned. Do you want to actually, just extend by 1 month? He said, no, Anand, I can't even extend for 1 day. So now you think, hey, I was giving so much for this colleague, and she's not even, in a mood to listen to you to stay back for 1 month. एक दिन भी extend नहीं कर सकते आनंद. मैं अभी आज ही resignation डाल. Which means you want to develop a relationship and put a lot of energy in material relationships. But what happens? Material relationship actually break now or later. आज या कल तो break होने ही वाले. हम चाहे ना चाहे होने वाले. हमारे जीते जी ना हो, while when we die it's going to happen. So that gives a reality. Prabhupada says really, Krishna says really that material relationship cannot stay longer. So like that, if you rejoice that I am getting some realizations from these incidents, it is very good because you are coming to the understanding of spiritual side of the life like that. Yeah.
Prabhuji, I have one
Thank
query.
Yes, Gitanjali.
I wanted to ask you offline, but since we are there in the session, okay. Earlier you asked me to increase 1 round each month. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm following your instructions now. I've reached to 9 rounds.
Very nice. Very good.
The more you're chanting, the more you're following your instructions from your guru. For me, you are my guru. Okay. But still I'm getting more distracted. I'm getting very bad thoughts. I'm not sure, but if I close my eyes, then I could see multiple weird things. So I'm just opening my eyes and focus on the picture of Sri Krishna or Prabhu. Then I'm just started chanting.
Yes.
But I'm just surprised why it is happening. When I was doing 1 round, it was okay. 2 rounds, but when I started to increase the rounds, these thoughts are coming very frequently.
I'll tell you an analogy and you'll understand. Suppose you have a storeroom in your house. You have a 3-bedroom house and one of the rooms you have made a storeroom, and it's been 5 years you have not opened the room. Okay. So one day you think, oh, let me just go and see. But one of your, your husband says, hey, Gitanjali, mat open karo usko. Kya sab pura gandagi hai usko? You say, no, let me just open it. And you take a jhadu and go inside the room. And as you start brooming, you will see, heaps and heaps of dirt coming out. And then there is a snake which crawls out. Then there is a scorpion which comes out. And then your husband says, hey, I told you not to do this. What does it mean? what it means is until you take the broom in your hand and start cleaning the place, that place was calm, peaceful, सब कुछ शांत चल रहा था. But जैसे झाड़ू लिया हाथ में, क्या हो गया? पूरा धूल ऊपर आ गया, and everything starts coming out. It's exactly what Smithal was trying to say also earlier. When you start chanting more and more rounds, that's why I say come to 16 rounds as soon as possible, because when you start chanting 16 rounds, all these anarthas, it's like churning of ocean. जब ocean को churn किया था, when the ocean was churned, first what came? First nectar did not come. First what came was halahal. Halahal was the dangerous poison which came. Similarly, when we start churning our heart by chanting Krishna's name, Krishna shows us what we are. देखो क्या गंदगी है तुम्हारे मन में. And I'll tell you one thing which I generally don't tell people. When I close my eyes and I don't have anything to think, right? I think of cricket. You will be surprised to know, but I don't know where it's coming from. Maybe from my childhood. Even now, when I'm thinking something, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting thinking of anything. My thought goes to cricket. So I'm thinking, ये कहाँ से आ रहा है? Because it's been a long time I've given up cricket, right? I don't play cricket anymore, but I obviously used to watch cricket long back. So those thoughts are coming from our subconscious mind. We have done some things in the past, some bad things, some good things, whatever it is, they are coming back. When you close your mind is peaceful. When you start chanting, right, it churns the mind. It helps the mind to bring out the unconscious thought to the surface. Another example, if you go to a lake, right, and you throw some stones. Now, before you throw some stones, the lake is still and you think it's very, very cool and clear water. But when you throw a lot of stones, you will see the lake becoming dirty. Why? Because whatever dirt was there beneath the water has come out. So similarly, when you start chanting, the dirt which in your heart comes out and we feel, sorry, ye kahan se aa gaya? It's because you have been chanting. If you did not chant, you would not even recognize this. That's the idea. So now don't give it up. The more you're going to chant, the more ideas you're going to get. But at a point of time, you'll be able to overcome that. Don't worry. हो जाएगा. ठीक है?
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yes. Any other question?
Prabhuji, even I want to add on something to what Mataji said.
Yes,
She
Mother.
said that she has come up till 9 chanting rounds. So then somewhere down, like even my mom said, ki once you start succeeding in something, your surrounding starts distracting you because it can't see you coming up. And
Correct.
that is the time when you have to be consistent on something which you want to achieve or something like that.
Yes. That's why we have to be determined. And that is why we started this updates in the group that I have chanted 9 rounds, 10 rounds, because we want to, there is some obligation here that on the group I am going to write. Right? By that doing, we become obliged. I have to write in the group. So let me do 16 rounds like that. That brings some obligation.
But Prabhuji, every action we do and the reaction we give to the actions, is every single thing related to the karmas?
So material things are related to karmas. Spiritual things are nothing to do with karmas. So for example, I meet an accident. The point that I'm going to meet an accident is my karma. But what do I do after the accident happens? Do I go and hit that person with whom I had an accident? Or I fight with that person? Or I go and peacefully tell them कि बाबा accident हो गया है, आपकी गलती है, insurance paper निकालो. So which option do I choose from the 3? It's your choice. That is not decided by the destiny. The destiny is that the situation will be there that you will be meeting an accident. But which option you're going to take? That's your choice. आपको independence दिया गया है. Like that. Yeah?
Like way we respond matters.
Yes, every response matters. Every response is actually deciding what your next karma is. If I do the wrong thing, I'm going to get the results again in the next life or in this life, whatever it is, like that.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Any other question?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice session.
Thank you, Vijay Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, we can stop here. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope all of you are chanting and all of you are reading Bhagavad Gita. Please continue doing it. It's in your benefit. The more we do, the more beneficial for us. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.